I grew up getting bullied by the cousin who lived in my house. She tried to sabotage my pregnancy out of spite. My sister took her side. And now I'm about to become a mom while trying to heal from a lifetime of being everyone's punching bag. I, 18 female, had always had this weird, underlying drama with my cousin Casey, 23 female. From as far back as I could remember, she carried this bizarre obsession with being in some kind of one-sided competition with me. What made it worse was how she worshipped my older sister, 24 female, like she was God's favorite daughter, untouchable, flawless, golden. Meanwhile, I was treated like the family charity case who just wouldn't stay in the background where she wanted me. Casey came to live with us when she was in middle school. Her home life was a mess, and my parents, bless their hearts, opened our doors to her. From the outside, it looked like the right thing to do. But inside that house, I became her emotional punching bag. She'd call me a worthless piece of shit, tell me I was ugly, and made it her personal mission to make me feel like I was less than nothing. And honestly, for a while, it worked. I hid under baggy clothes and big hoodies, not out of style but out of shame. I avoided mirrors and people, flinched at compliments, and lived with this constant hum of inferiority. My confidence was non-existent, and I was so used to shrinking myself that I forgot I was ever allowed to take up space. But something shifted in junior high. I started to crawl out of the emotional wreckage she helped build. I made real friends, got introduced to style that felt like me, and began experimenting with makeup, thanks to my sister, who would sit with me after school and teach me how to blend eyeshadow like magic. I found my own aesthetic, fell into this cute baggy 90s vibe, and started walking with my head a little higher. And Casey? She hated every second of it. She'd accuse me of copying her, even though she wore the same 2 oversized hoodies and sweats paired with Crocs every single day. I wasn't trying to be her, I was finally learning how to be me. But to her, that was a threat. Things took a turn for the worse when I got a boyfriend. He was 16, I was 15, and it was young love, the sweet kind. I was excited, happy, even a little confident. But Casey couldn't let me have that either. One night, I found out she told him that her body was better than mine, and that he'd love seeing her under her clothes. She literally tried to seduce my boyfriend. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed, hearing that for the first time, and feeling like I was back in the 6th grade, small, humiliated, invisible. My mom had to step in more than once. She pulled Casey aside, warned her to stay in her lane, tried to get through to her. But nothing really changed. My dad, in his typical conflict-avoidant way, just told me to let it go, that Casey's been through a lot. That phrase became the excuse for everything. Her temper, her cruelty, her passive-aggressive jabs, her manipulations. She had trauma, so we were supposed to give her grace, while she gave the rest of us hell. I remember one family dinner where I wore this cute oversized flannel and high-waisted jeans. I was glowing because for once, I felt good in my skin. Casey looked me up and down and muttered, "Cute. Real original." I ignored it, but later she cornered me and asked if I was trying to be her. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "I'm trying to be happy." That's something you wouldn't recognize if it slapped you in the face. The look on her face? Like I'd flipped the power dynamic for a second. And maybe I had. The sad part is, she could have been my friend. My cousin. My sister even. We lived under the same roof for years. I knew her favorite snacks, her weird sleep habits, the music she played when she was sad. I knew her. But she never wanted to know me. She just wanted to beat me at a game I didn't even know we were playing. Then graduating high school early at 16 with honors and college credits was one of the proudest moments of my life. I had worked hard, stayed up late, skipped parties, and made sacrifices most teenagers didn't even think about. But instead of celebrating with me, Casey was bitter. She flat out refused to attend my graduation and called me a dumb prick who wouldn't get far. It hurt, of course it did. But at the same time, I couldn't help but see the irony. She had dropped out of college not once, but twice. If that wasn't projection, I don't know what was. She always had a hard time watching me succeed. Every milestone I hit seemed to ignite something ugly in her. I used to wonder if she even liked me at all or if I was just some default enemy in her life, someone she could dump her insecurities on because it made her feel better. That became clearer than ever the moment I found out I was pregnant in November. I was scared, but I was happy. My boyfriend and I had been together for 2 years, and while it wasn't necessarily planned, it also wasn't some chaotic situation. But of course, Casey couldn't stand the fact that something beautiful was happening in my life. She started spreading rumors, telling family members I didn't even know who the father was, saying it could have been multiple guys, and even going so far as to tell my dad that the father was a 31-year-old man. It was disgusting. She looked my family in the eye and tried to make me look like some reckless girl spiraling through life. But no one believed her. They knew better. They knew my boyfriend, they'd seen our relationship, and honestly, everyone was kind of tired of her mess by then. When her lies didn't land the way she wanted, she tried a different tactic, attention redirection. She admitted to me in a private moment, after her usual fake tears, that she got pregnant because she couldn't stand that I was the center of attention. She actually said, I just needed something of my own to talk about. And I kid you not, she got pregnant, on purpose. It broke my heart when she miscarried in February. I wouldn't wish that kind of pain on anyone, not even her. As angry as I was at her for everything she'd done, I still showed up for her. We all did. My family rallied around her, brought her food, made her feel loved, reminded her she wasn't alone. I even started dressing in oversized hoodies again to keep my baby bump hidden so she wouldn't feel triggered around me. I was trying, truly trying, to be considerate despite everything. But it didn't matter. No matter what I did, it was never enough. If I mentioned a craving, she would turn it into an emotional breakdown about how she should be pregnant. If someone gifted me baby clothes, she'd lock herself in her room for hours. She cried at the dinner table when we talked about names. It felt like walking on glass every day. I was trying to be joyful in my pregnancy, but I had to dim it around her just to keep the peace. The final straw was the baby name. I had always known I wanted to name my daughter after my grandmother, my mom's mom, who meant the world to me. It was a name filled with love, legacy, and strength. I announced it at a small family dinner, and everyone was so sweet and supportive. Except Casey. She sat there in silence, lips tight, eyes burning with jealousy. A week later, she showed up with a custom baby blanket. Embroidered on it was my baby's name, along with what would have been her due date. And the day she miscarried. She claimed I stole the name from her, that she had picked it out first. But here's the thing, she has no connection to that name. She's my dad's niece. The grandmother it came from isn't even her relative. That was when I knew I couldn't keep doing this. I kept the name, of course I did. I wasn't going to let her trauma rewrite my joy. I wasn't going to change something so personal and sacred just because she wanted to sabotage it. At some point, I had to accept that no matter how much grace I gave her, it would never be enough to heal whatever was broken inside her. She saw my happiness as her loss, and that's not something I can fix. I didn't want to spend my pregnancy, and now, my motherhood, tiptoeing around someone who never cared about my feelings in the first place. After some time. The episode of Casey Can't Handle Not Being the Center of Attention started off just like any other. My mom and I were sitting in the dining room going over baby shower details, simple stuff like food ideas, colors for decorations, little favors, and of course, the cake. You know, normal baby shower planning. My sister was chiming in, helping me pick between pastel green or lavender. We were laughing, enjoying the moment. And then from the living room, we hear her scoff, loudly. Like she wanted to make sure she was heard. She mutters under her breath but just loud enough, no one cares. I looked at my mom. My mom looked at me. We both chose peace and ignored it. Then I mentioned the baby's name, my baby's name, and just like clockwork, Casey jumped in. A name you stole from me, she snapped with that smug, bitter tone she always uses when she's itching for a fight. I didn't even look in her direction. Just rolled my eyes and kept the conversation moving. Like, why are you still on this? It's been months. I announced the name ages ago, it has nothing to do with you. But she won't let it go. I was showing my mom a cute custom car seat cover I ordered, white and sage green with my daughter's name printed across it in this beautiful script. I was excited. My mom was excited. That's when Casey came storming in from the living room like some villain in a bad reality show. She was carrying a box of her own baby stuff, onesies, blankets, a tiny stuffed elephant, things she bought before her miscarriage. She tossed it on the table like it was supposed to mean something and mumbled just loud enough for us to hear, hopefully I don't steal her ideas too. Like, girl, what? First of all, half the stuff in that box is already on my registry. You didn't invent baby items. You think I'm stealing your ideas when we both shop at the same Target? I just blinked at her, genuinely trying not to laugh. My mom, bless her, tried to be kind and told her the stuff she bought was cute. But the tension was thick. You could feel it. When I didn't react, that's when Casey completely lost it. She started pacing, raising her voice. Accused me of copying her, again, and said I was obsessed with her. She told me I was jealous, that I always have been, and then out of nowhere, she hits me with, "You need to heal before you bring a baby into this world." Like what the actual hell? You overhear me venting about postpartum fears or feeling insecure about my body during pregnancy, and now you're using that against me? She said it with such venom, like she wanted to hurt me. And for a second, she did. Not because I believed her, but because I realized she really didn't care about me at all. Not even now. Not even when I'm about to bring life into the world. So I got up. I walked out to the backyard where my sister was, trying to just cool off and be in the sun. But of course Casey followed, still yelling. Still screaming. At this point, she's saying that we've always treated her like garbage. That we treat her worse than her own parents ever did. Which is a straight-up lie, and everyone knows it. My parents have bent over backwards for her for years, paid for therapy, drove her to college classes, bought her groceries, let her live here rent-free. Meanwhile, she's been tearing me down since we were kids, and I was told to just be the bigger person. But today, something finally shifted. My dad, who had been downstairs in the basement doing some plumbing work, came up because her screaming was shaking the whole house. He asked, "What the hell is going on now?" with that tired tone that parents get when they've just had enough. My mom started to explain, but Casey cut her off, ranting about how no one ever listens to her, that we all gang up on her, and how no one wanted her baby but now everyone's obsessed with mine. That was it. My dad looked her dead in the eye, and for the first time in years, he didn't sugarcoat anything. He straight up said it. "Casey, for God's sake, I love you, but what is your problem? You pick fights constantly, you play victim, and you're not in middle school anymore. If you want to stay here, you need to get your act together. I can't keep doing this with you or you picking with a teenager who has done nothing to you." I just sat there, stunned. My dad, my calm, patient, sometimes overly forgiving dad, had finally snapped. And not in a yelling, chaotic way either. It was the kind of tone that slices through a room. Cold. Firm. Final. It was like he had drawn a line in the sand, and we all knew Casey wasn't ready to be on the right side of it. Casey just stood there, mouth slightly open, like she didn't know how to process hearing the truth. For once, the theatrics weren't working. There were no fake tears, no manipulation, no gaslighting her way out of this one. She stormed off to her room without saying a word. We heard drawers slamming, bags being tossed around, her stomping down the hallway like a storm. Within 20 minutes, she was walking out the front door with a duffel over her shoulder, looking pissed, humiliated, and, if I'm being honest, completely lost. No one stopped her. Not because we didn't care, but because we were drained. We've all been drained. My mom sighed and sat down on the couch like her body weighed 1,000 pounds. My sister looked over at me with this mix of relief and guilt. I didn't say a word. I didn't have to. The house finally felt still. Quiet. Like it could breathe again. But that peace didn't last long. Later that night, I got a text from her. Just one. "You've won. I can't fight you anymore. You've always ruined my life even when I was with my parents. You were always the favorite and I always hated you. You ruin everything for me." I stared at it for a long time. Read it over and over again, like maybe the words would change, or soften, or suddenly make sense. They didn't. It was a strange mix of pain and bitterness. Like she truly believed I'd been playing some master villain role in her life since childhood, when all I ever did was try to survive her cruelty. I thought about all the times she made me feel small, invisible, unwanted. The names she called me. The way she twisted everything I said or did into something ugly. How I learned to keep my wins quiet so she wouldn't find a way to ruin them. I thought about the pregnancy rumors she started, the way she accused me of stealing her name, and the meltdown over my baby shower. And somehow, I still felt bad. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because as much as I wanted to be the bigger person, to send something supportive or kind or at least neutral, I didn't have it in me. Not anymore. I've spent years sacrificing pieces of myself to keep the peace with her. Shoving my joy into dark corners so it wouldn't make her feel threatened. Shrinking myself so she'd stop attacking me. But it was never enough. Nothing was ever enough. And now that she's finally gone, that same part of me, the one she taught to always be scared, to always brace for impact, is telling me I'm a bad person for feeling relief. Since all of this happened, I've had a lot of time to think. And I know if I were someone listening this from the outside, I'd probably have a ton of questions too, about her, about me, about how we even got here. So let me clear some things up, because I think it's important to show the full picture. Maybe it'll help me process it too. First off, a lot of people might think, was she the youngest girl before me? Yeah, she was. For about 5 years, Casey was the baby girl of the family. Most of our relatives are boys, cousins, uncles, nephews. Girls are kinda rare around here. So when I came along, I think she felt replaced before I could even talk. I don't remember this, obviously, but I've heard stories about how she would roll her eyes when people called me cute or how she'd act out when someone paid attention to me. That resentment clearly never went away. If anything, it grew with time. And I know some people are probably thinking, but wait, aren't you really young to be dealing with all of this, especially being pregnant? Fair question. I'm 18, almost 19 in a few weeks, and yeah, I'm a teen mom. But I'm also incredibly self-sufficient. I've been working since I was 15. I have my own small business that I've been growing from scratch. I still live at home for now, but I buy my own things, I save my own money, and I handle my life without expecting anyone else to carry me. I know being a teen mom isn't ideal in most people's eyes, but I didn't walk into it blind. I knew what I was signing up for. I wanted this baby, and I love her already more than I can explain. Now, as for why my parents never got Casey into therapy, believe me, my mom tried. She's always believed in mental health and emotional care. But my dad? Not so much. He's old school. Therapy, in his eyes, is something crazy people do, and if you've got problems, you just need to pray or write it in a journal. And to be fair, there were times when journaling and prayer did help me. But Casey needed more. She needed real, professional help, and I think deep down, even she knew that. But she would never ask for it. And my dad, well, he just wouldn't budge. Even recently, after all the drama and everything that happened. A lot of people also assume my parents must have been young when they had me, but not really. My mom is 46 and my dad is 57. They've been married for over 26 years now. They had me and my siblings later in life, so they're a bit more traditional in how they approach things. That's part of why I think they had such a hard time holding Casey accountable. Her backstory does play a big role in how everything unfolded. Her father was physically abusive to both her and her mom. And when Casey was still a preteen, her mom helped her run away and sent her to live with us across the country. We're on the East Coast, they were all the way out in Oakland. Once she got here, her mom basically vanished from the picture. But here's the thing, so did a lot of us. Life's hard for almost everyone at some point. What matters is what you do with that pain, how you choose to heal, or not heal. And Casey chose bitterness. A question I get a lot is, why were you so nice to her for so long? And honestly, because I looked up to her. I wanted a big sister figure in my life. My actual older sister was barely around when I was growing up, she was always off doing her own thing, and we weren't close. So I clung to Casey. I thought, maybe, if I was nice enough, cool enough, quiet enough, she'd love me like a little sister. I really wanted that bond. But still, I stuck around longer than I should have. Even when she told people I was sleeping around. Even when she made fun of my clothes or called me names. Even when she tried to flirt with my boyfriend. Was there favoritism in the house? Not really. If anything, she got more leeway than me. More softness. More patience. People tiptoed around her emotions like they were walking on eggshells. I didn't get that. I had to be strong, quiet, mature. I only ever got extra toys or attention when I was very little and too young to hang with the older kids. And now? She's gone. No one's heard from her since the night she stormed out. She blocked all of us. We don't know where she is, and honestly, I'm torn about it. Part of me is relieved, because this house finally feels peaceful. The anxiety I used to carry around like a second skin has started to lift. 7 days passed since Casey left, and honestly, it was peaceful. The kind of peace that feels foreign when you've been holding your breath for years. I could finally feel the energy in the house settle, no constant tension, no weird side eyes or passive-aggressive jabs. Just calm. But, of course, peace never lasts long with her. It was around 1 a.m. when it happened. I was knocked out cold, totally exhausted after a long day. My baby had been extra active, and I'd finally gotten comfortable enough to sleep. My parents were still awake though. Apparently they were downstairs watching a movie together when they heard someone at the front door. It was Casey. She stumbled in, reeking of alcohol and whatever else she'd been using. My dad, who's been sober since I was 14 and is serious about his recovery, told me later that just the smell of her made his stomach turn. He was pissed. Disappointed too, which somehow feels even heavier. My mom said she looked a mess, eyes glossy, makeup smeared, hair tangled like she hadn't slept in days. They tried to sit her down, talk her through whatever was going on, but she wasn't having it. She just kept crying, saying she was tired and wanted to go lie down. And for some reason, even after all she's put us through, they let her. They watched her climb the stairs, probably hoping a night's rest would cool her down and sober her up. I wish that had been the end of it. But of course, it wasn't. While my parents were outside on the patio smoking, yes, both of them still occasionally sneak a cigarette like they're teens hiding it from us kids, Casey came straight for me. I woke up to the sound of my bedroom door handle jiggling. It was locked, thank God. But that didn't stop her. She started whisper yelling through the door, "Open up. We need to talk." And not in a calm, rational way. More like an unhinged, slightly slurred mess. I sat up, instantly tense. My stomach dropped. I told her, "We can talk in the morning. Go to bed." But that only pissed her off more. She started banging on the door, full on kicking it, and yelling insults through the wood. "You'll never be prettier than me. You're the ugly black sheep. You've always been nothing." That again? After everything? It was like she hadn't grown at all. She was still that same bitter, insecure person who needed to tear me down to feel anything at all. And it was exhausting. I stayed calm. Told her again to just go sleep it off. But then she said something that made me feel cold all over. She threatened me. She said, "If I see you tonight, it won't be good for you." She broke down crying again. Right there in the living room, after all the chaos and yelling, like none of it had happened just minutes before. Her whole body collapsed into the couch like she couldn't hold herself up anymore. She started sobbing, saying we were all she had, that she just wanted to talk, that she wasn't trying to hurt anybody. But it didn't matter anymore. Not this time. My dad stood firm. I've never seen him like that with her. He looked tired. Like years of pent-up frustration had finally found a way out. He said, "Casey, I love you. But this isn't okay. You don't get to come into my house drunk, threaten my daughter, and expect us to pretend it didn't happen. You've picked fights since the day you got here. You've made this house hard to live in, and I can't protect you anymore if protecting you means letting you hurt everyone else. You need help. Real help. Not this." She looked stunned. Like someone had thrown a bucket of cold water in her face. And then Mom came in. Calm but clearly heartbroken. She sat down across from Casey and spoke to her in a tone I hadn't heard before, one that wasn't maternal or forgiving, but honest. She said, "You've been through a lot. We know that. We've tried to love you through it. But you've made Amaya's life hell. You treat her like she's the enemy, and she's done nothing but try to love you like a sister. And I'm sorry, Casey, but you don't get to live here and continue hurting the people who opened their home and hearts to you. Not anymore." And I just sat upstairs, watching it all unfold on the security camera feed from my phone. Yeah, I know, super petty. But after everything she's done, I needed to see her finally be held accountable. I needed proof that I wasn't just being dramatic or oversensitive. I needed to witness someone finally standing up for me, because God knows I've stood alone so many times in this house. I was still watching when my phone buzzed. It was Monica. The sister I'd always wanted to be close to. The one who was barely around but always seemed to have more sympathy for Casey than for me. I held my breath before opening her message. Monica, Amaya, for once will you stop making it so hard with her? She only wanted to talk. Seriously? I replied, already feeling the sting behind my eyes. Me, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm 8 months pregnant, barely able to get out of bed, and she's banging on my door, calling me names and threatening me. What do you expect me to do? I don't want to talk. Then she doubled down. Monica, I'm tired of you playing the victim like you're so innocent in this. Get over yourself. You're exhausting and it's getting harder to deal with. That was it. That was the blow that broke something in me. Me, what have I done, Monica? I've cooked for y'all, cleaned up after y'all, always tried to be nice, even when you both treated me like I was nothing. Neither of you have done anything for me. Ever. And if anything, you're exhausting. You're 24, you've got a degree you don't even use. Be real with yourself. Stop texting me. Good night. And then I cried. Not the silent kind of cry where a single tear rolls down your cheek and the music swells in the background. No. I broke. I sobbed so hard I had to cover my face with a pillow so my parents wouldn't hear me from downstairs. I'd spent so much of my life holding back, for them. For peace. For family. I had poured every drop of kindness I had into 2 people who gave me nothing but backhanded comments, jealousy, and dismissal. And I still kept hoping they'd change. That one day, maybe they'd see me. Really see me. But this? This was my final straw. My breaking point. For years, I kept hoping we'd grow up and out of this toxic cycle. That one day, we'd look back on all of it and laugh. I wanted what I thought every girl wanted growing up, sisters who hyped each other up, who shared makeup and secrets and protected each other from the world. Instead, I got a cousin who couldn't stand to see me happy, and a sister who kept choosing someone else's side over mine. Every single time. But that night, I realized something important. I'm about to be a mother. In a few weeks, I'll be holding a baby girl who will look to me for guidance, protection, and love. She'll learn from me what love looks like, what boundaries look like, and what self-respect looks like. And I refuse to raise her in the middle of chaos. I wiped my tears, turned off the camera feed, and rested my hand on my belly. I felt her kick lightly, like she knew I needed a reminder that I'm not alone anymore. I whispered to her. You'll never have to earn my love, baby girl. You'll never have to beg for kindness, or wonder if you're good enough. Because you are. You always will be. So here's where we're at now. Casey left the next morning, looking rough, eyes swollen from crying, hair all over the place, dragging a trash bag full of clothes like she was running away from some movie scene. Only this wasn't a movie. This was real life. My life. She didn't say goodbye. Just walked out the door while my dad watched from the living room and my mom stood in the kitchen with her arms crossed. It was silent except for the creak of the front door. She's been staying with some friend, we're not sure who. No one really asked. The text started a day later, pages of apologies and explanations, her saying she just lost it, that she didn't mean it, that she was just hurting. And then came the guilt trips. She told my mom I'd turned everyone against her. Told my dad I was manipulative and that I've always gotten my way. Typical Casey. When you don't respond to her chaos, she tries to make it look like you're the villain. But this time, neither of them folded. For the first time, my parents stood firm. If she wants to be a part of this family, my dad said, she's going to have to do some real work. She needs therapy. She needs help. And until then? She's not coming back. I swear, hearing him say that felt like something inside me finally clicked back into place. Like someone had finally seen me. Protected me. And Monica? Yeah, still radio silence from her. No texts. No calls. No explanation. Nothing but that last conversation sitting in my phone like a scar that won't heal. You know what hurts the most? Not even Casey's breakdown or the years of cruel comments. It was Monica. It was her silence. It was her choosing to defend chaos over me. My mom eventually asked about it, she could feel the tension in the house. And I didn't even get angry when she asked. I just told her calmly, ask your daughter. Because at this point, I've said enough. I've done enough. I've officially uninvited both Monica and Casey from my baby shower. My mom said, "It's your baby, your event. You get to decide." And you know what? That simple sentence brought me so much peace. For once, someone wasn't asking me to shrink or accommodate or make things easier for everyone else. She gave me the power to decide. And I took it. No more giving people access to me just because we share blood. No more tolerating mistreatment under the excuse of, "but she's family." No more hoping people will magically change or finally love me the way I hoped they would. Monica won't be in the baby's life. And neither will Casey. This isn't about revenge. This is about peace. About protecting the sacred space I've built for my child. About choosing me and, by extension, choosing her. My dad is still backing me up, too. He's apologized for not stepping in sooner. We've had more conversations in the past week than we have in the past few years. Real conversations. About how he regrets how long he let things go. About how much he admires my strength. It was the first time I felt like he saw the whole me and not just the little girl in the house trying to stay quiet. And me? I'm good. I'm better than I've been in a long, long time. I'm focusing on my pregnancy, on the kicks, the cravings, the weird dreams, and the wonder of it all. I'm preparing for this little girl who is about to turn my whole world upside down in the most beautiful way. I'm working on my small business, shipping out orders between naps, and connecting with clients who truly support me. I'm also resting more. Laughing more. Saying no more. Because I finally realized I don't have to earn anyone's love or approval. I don't have to explain myself to people committed to misunderstanding me. I don't have to carry emotional weight that doesn't belong to me. I have a baby on the way. A tiny human who will rely on me to show her how to love, how to protect herself, how to value her own peace. And I'll be damned if she grows up watching me let people treat me like I'm disposable. She's going to see her mama stand tall. Not because life didn't try to break me, but because I got tired of letting it. To everyone who's followed this story, who messaged, commented, encouraged me, thank you. Truly. You have no idea how much your kindness has meant. When I was second-guessing myself, you reminded me I was right to stand up. When I was exhausted, you reminded me that boundaries are love. When I felt alone, you showed up with open hearts and honesty. I never thought I'd share this much of my life with strangers, but here we are, and I'm so grateful I did. This chapter is closed. The drama? Left behind. The next one is about growth, love, motherhood, peace, and choosing myself again and again. And my daughter? She's going to be raised by a woman who finally knows her worth. She's going to learn how to protect her heart without apologizing. She's going to grow up in a home built on truth, not silence. Because I won't pass on the trauma that was handed to me. It stops here. With me. And that's the most powerful thing I've ever done. Thank you guys for listening, and you can put your opinion in the comment box and have a nice day. And don't forget to like and subscribe.